good to see you again. I'm Natalie, and I'm here at Ryman Gardens with our Caterpillar Connection. So good to see you. I have a book to read today. It's called Sofia Valdez, Fruture, Prez. Prez, I wonder what that means. That'd be like president? Let's see. Anyway, Sofia Valdez, Fruture, Prez. You know, this book is a little bit about what you can do to volunteer in your community. Did you know that I'm a volunteer with Ryman Gardens? That means I share some of my time to read you stories. You know, I have friends here that do the same. My friend Sarah and my friend Rick, they're both volunteers as well. They come to share stories with you. So, something that we just love to do. There are a lot of other volunteers in the garden as well. Let's see what these people do, what Sofia does to volunteer her time. Sofia Valdez, Fruture, Prez. It's written by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. Oh, look here. I wanted to show you this. There's a sign that says, Sofia for President. It's a squirrel holding the sign. Sofia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she was 1. Look at, she's helping to water the flowers, even before she was 1. She and Abuelo went out every week to help elderly friends around Blue River Creek who couldn't get out and about on their own and with no place to gather were stuck home alone. This is Sofia, and this is her abuelo. Do you know what abuelo means? It means grandfather. She went with her grandfather to take food to some people who couldn't get out to get their own food. She was being very helpful. Raking the leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk. Sofia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends and her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real life go-getter. Most people like good, but Sofia liked better. Here she's helping her abuelo, her grandfather, rake some leaves and walk the dogs. Oh, each morning, Abuelo walked Sofia to class. They walked home again along Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuelo and girl. Except for that Tuesday when Pup saw a squirrel. Uh-oh, can you see Pup chasing the squirrel with a howl? Oh! Pup took off, racing all through the town, over, under, beneath, and around. Sofia scrambled to try to keep up with the hollering man and the bellowing Pup. Uh-oh, what's going to happen next? Up the squirrel ran to the top of a hill made of leftover junk for the local landfill. They reached the tip top of that mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. There they go, up over that hill of trash. and down they all tumbled and hit with a thud on a moldy old pumpkin surrounded by mud. "Ouch!" cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. "A dangerous mess," he said, grasping her hand. Uh-oh. That look on his face, I think he looks a little hurt. Oh, the next day, Sofia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her abuelo. "This is not right," Sofia declared young Sofia, who glared at Mount Trashmore and got an idea. The very next morning at dawn, she planted a sign at the front of the lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. "Get rid of Mount Trashmore. Trashmore. Let's build a new park." Each of her neighbors had something to say about benches and fountains and places to play. Meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by the quarter till dark. She drifted to sleep in her soft, cozy bed. Then, bam, she woke up with a thought when it smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, "Let me know when it's done." They all thought Sofia could build alone. But how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of that thought made her tender heart ache as night thunder growled and she lay wide awake. Then dawn brought a storm and a gloomy sky wept, and the heart-sick Sofia finally slept. Look at Abuelo's foot. That's what happened when he fell down in the trash. Abuelo baked cookies when Sofia got up. He gave her a bagful and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked back a tear as he hugged his Sofia. "For courage," he whispered. "Te amo, mi vida." Sofia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried. Though she couldn't feel brave or courageous at all, Sofia Valdez went to face City Hall. There's the library. Here's Sofia going to that big City Hall building. She's knocking on the door. The mayor's office sent her to room 401, the Blue River Creek Department of Fun, which sent her downstairs to room 302, the Office of Duck Ponds and Cool Things to Do, to the Office of Monkeys, the Department of Cheese, the Division of Fountains and Meetings and Bees, then down to the basement, so musty and cramped, where all the town's papers were sorted and stamped. And that's where the clerk said what no one else did. "You can't build a new park. You're only a kid." I bet Sofia felt kind of sad. The words smacked Sofia deep down in her heart. Her plan was kiboshed before it could start. "I think," said Sofia, "I think the law's wrong." But her second grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said, "Clearly it cannot be done. Do you have any questions?" Sofia said, "One. If you were me and I were you and he was your grandpa, what would you do?" "Oh, well," said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought and she thought. Then she sent out a call to every employee throughout City Hall. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sofia speak. But her words jumbled up and her cheeks turned bright red. She was a little embarrassed as the dozen emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sophia leaned back. Then her arm brushed the edge of the old cookie sack. And that was the moment when Sophia first knew being brave means doing the things you must do, though your heart cracks with fear, though you're just in grade 2. She took a deep breath, looked the mayor in the eye, and though her knees wobbled, she held her head high. Sophia started talking. She spelled out her plan and why it all mattered and how it began. And once she got rolling, she had lots to say about meeting spots, monkeys, and places to play, and other ideas for things they could do to help the town elders and other folks too. She had thoughts on the library, thoughts on the zoo, and perhaps a way to combine the two. And all right, cried the mayor, go start a petition. If the town wants a park, we'll form a commission. And so young Sophia got right to work with some help from her family and Pup and the clerk. Let's build a park for everyone. Sign our petition. Look at all the people and all the signs. Then others joined in. Not all, but a few. Like Miss Little Greer and the kids in grade 2. We can do it. We can build a park. There were hearings and surveys and taxes to figure, then bulldozers train and a blue, bigger digger. They all built that park. That's how it got done. With the hard work of OF, the hard work of, by, and for everyone. But it began with the dream of one person, just one, who laced up her shoes and then led the way to the Blue River Creek to help Blue River Creek get a new place to play. Now every evening until long after dark, the town comes together at Citizens Park. They all hold this truth to be self-evident, that Sofia Valdez could grow up to be president. Until then, Sophia, that real-life go-getter, helps Blue River Creek get better and better. She was a great volunteer. She had an idea about building a park for her community, and just her voice helped get lots more people involved, and lots of people came together to build a great park for everybody. Isn't that great? You know, it's kind of like Ryman Gardens. It's not just one person here that does all this work, or even 3 or 4 people. It's so many people. Hundreds of people have helped here at Ryman Gardens to make a beautiful place to visit. So the next time you see people working in the garden, they're probably volunteers who are planting and weeding and fixing and reading stories and other programs. You know, great to have you here today. Thanks for listening. Bye.